The stars above the barren planet of Archon 7 burned faintly, cold and distant. On its rocky surface stood a small human research outpost, a cluster of metal domes connected by narrow corridors. The outpost was not built for war. It was designed for study. Its scientists were mapping strange mineral formations and testing how life could survive in the harsh vacuum of the outer rim. For months, life had been quiet. The 23 scientists and engineers who lived there had grown used to the silence of deep space. Their days were filled with routine, calibrating instruments, analyzing samples, sending back reports to Earth's Science Council. There was little excitement, and that was exactly how they liked it. But everything changed in a single hour. It began with a tremor in the sensors, strange signals flickering on the radar. At first, the crew thought it was an error, maybe a glitch caused by the solar winds that often passed through the system. But as the minutes passed, the signals grew stronger. Multiple contacts incoming, reported Commander Elaine Marlowe, the officer in charge of the outpost. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp as she studied the display. The radar screen was filling with red marks, each representing a ship. One or two would have been strange, but not dangerous. This was different. Dozens of ships were moving in fast, their energy signatures unlike anything human. "They're not friendly," whispered one of the engineers. The silence in the control room grew heavy. Everyone understood what this meant. The outer rim was not empty. It was a hunting ground. Pirates, raiders, and alien warbands often preyed on isolated colonies. And now Archon 7 had been found. Commander Marlowe did not waste time. "Seal the outer doors. Bring the shields online. Prepare all defense systems." The defenses were weak and everyone knew it. The outpost had a few cannons designed only to scare off meteor fragments. The shields were thin, meant to protect from radiation, not warships. Against a fleet, they had no chance. Still, the crew obeyed, hands flying over consoles, activating what little protection they had. The hum of the shield generators filled the base as a faint blue glow surrounded the domes. Through the viewing window, the first alien ships appeared, dark shapes gliding across the void. Their hulls shimmered with strange patterns of light and their wings spread wide like blades. These were not pirates. They were something worse. The communication channels came alive with static, then a sharp alien voice. The words were not human, but the meaning was clear. Surrender or be destroyed. Fear rippled through the crew. Some looked ready to give up, but Commander Marlowe stood firm. She raised her voice steady and strong. "We will not surrender. We send a distress signal now." At once, the communications officer activated the emergency beacon. A powerful SOS was sent out into space, repeating again and again, "Human outpost under attack." Immediate assistance required. The scientists knew help might never come. They were far from the nearest colony, and even faster than light ships would take weeks to arrive. Still, the signal was their only chance. But what none of them knew was that the signal carried more than a plea for help. Hidden deep within the beacon was a code, a sequence written long ago by Earth's military council. It was an ancient failsafe designed for one purpose: to awaken humanity's most powerful guardians if ever a remote outpost faced extinction. The crew of Archon 7 had no idea such a thing existed. They thought they were simply crying into the void, hoping anyone would hear. Outside, the alien ships grew closer. Bright lights gathered along their hulls as weapons powered up. Then the first shot came. A lance of green fire struck the shield, shaking the domes. The blue barrier flared, cracks of light running across its surface. "Shields at 70%, shouted an engineer. Another blast hit, stronger than the first. The ground trembled, dust falling from the ceiling. Panic spread through the room. "We can't hold them off," cried one scientist. Commander Marlowe slammed her hand on the console. "We fight until the last breath. If anyone escapes, humanity must know what attacked us." The crew's fear turned to determination. Some ran to man the cannons, though they knew the weapons were too weak. Others rushed to secure data drives, trying to save months of research. The outpost buzzed with frantic activity as the alien fleet circled like predators. Far beyond the system, the SOS traveled through the stars. Most signals would fade into nothing, lost in the endless night. But this one was different. It struck something old, something hidden. On a barren world deep within a mountain of iron, giant machines slept. Their bodies were vast, warships and battle mechs the size of cities. Their eyes were dark, their engines cold, but inside them rested a spark. The SOS reached them and the spark awoke. Across hidden vaults scattered through the galaxy, similar machines stirred. Their cores pulsed with ancient power, and their voices whispered in the dark. Directive received. Humanity in danger. Activation required. Back on Archon 7, the outpost shook again. Another volley struck and the shield dropped to half strength. Sparks flew from the consoles and the lights flickered. "We won't survive another wave," shouted the chief engineer. Commander Marlowe clenched her fists. Her gaze moved over her crew, people she had lived with for years now facing their final hour. She opened her mouth to give the order to prepare escape pods, though she knew they would never make it far. Then something happened. The radar screen flickered. New signals appeared. Not alien, different. Massive energy signatures unlike anything the crew had ever seen. They were far, still minutes away, but approaching fast. "What is that?" whispered the communications officer. Commander Marlowe leaned forward. Her voice was hushed but filled with hope. Reinforcements, maybe? No one knew for sure. But far out in the darkness, the most advanced human war machines ever built had begun their march. And for the first time since the attack began, the crew of Archon 7 felt a spark of hope. The galaxy was silent except for the faint echo of the SOS, traveling across hidden channels few remembered. The distress call reached vaults buried deep under lifeless planets, moons, and asteroids. These vaults had been sealed for centuries, built in the last great human war. Inside one such vault, darkness reigned. Gigantic shadows filled the cavern, unmoving for ages. Dust-coated metallic limbs and cables like veins spread across the stone walls. The machines slept, waiting, silent, forgotten. Then the signal arrived. A single red light flickered inside the chest of the largest war machine. Its sensors, once blind, glowed faintly with blue fire. The giant stirred, ancient systems roaring awake. Across the cavern, other machines followed. Their metal frames groaned as power returned to their cores. Directive received. Human distress signal detected. Activation required. The voice was not spoken aloud. It resonated through networks that linked every machine in the vault. They spoke to one another without words, understanding instantly. The largest among them, a warship called EpicSciFiTales, unfolded its wings. Its engines, once cold, ignited with blinding light. Energy surged through its circuits, spreading life through every part of its vast frame. The warship's mind awoke fully, filled with memories of old battles and forgotten commanders. Mission: defend humanity. Location: Archon 7. Status: immediate deployment. The warship responded, confirmed. All units prepare for launch. Giant battle mechs rose from their cradles, towering metal titans with armor thick as mountains. Smaller drones buzzed to life, swarming like metallic insects. The vault itself rumbled as doors that had not opened for centuries slid apart, releasing clouds of dust into the thin atmosphere above. The machines were awake, and they were ready. Far away on Archon 7, the human outpost trembled under enemy fire. The shields had fallen to 30%. Panels burst in showers of sparks as energy beams struck the domes. Alarms screamed across every corridor. Inside the command center, Commander Aline Marlowe stood firm, refusing to show fear. Her crew looked to her for strength even as hopelessness crept into their hearts. "We hold on," she said firmly. "Help will come." Some wanted to believe her. Others could not. They whispered to one another. No fleet could reach them in time, no ship could fight off the enemy's numbers. But then the radar screen flashed again. "Commander," cried the communications officer. "Those unknown signals, they're closer." I think they're human." The entire control room went silent. Human, that was impossible. No human fleet had power readings like those. Before they could react, the ground shook. Not from an enemy strike, but from the sudden surge of energy detected in orbit. Something vast had entered real space, ripping through dimensions with impossible force. Above the barren planet, the sky filled with shadows. The first to arrive was EpicSciFiTales, its titanic frame blocking out the stars. The warship was ancient yet magnificent, its surface etched with symbols of old human victories. Massive cannons extended from its sides, glowing with barely contained power. Flanking it were two sister ships, Vigilant Dawn and Iron Tempest. Their hulls gleamed like silver storms, their fighter bays opening to release swarms of drones. The alien fleet, once confident, hesitated. Their ship slowed, scanning the newcomers with confusion. These energy signatures did not match modern human craft. They were far stronger, older yet somehow more advanced. The alien commander sent out a sharp order. Do not retreat. Destroy the new arrivals. The first barrage of alien fire shot across space, green beams striking the side of Erebus Prime. The warship did not move. Its shields absorbed the hits with ease, rippling faintly before vanishing again. Then the human war machines answered. The void lit up as Erebus Prime unleashed a single blast from its forward cannon. The energy beam tore through 3 alien ships at once, slicing them apart in silence. Their wreckage drifted, glowing as it burned. From the flanking ships came swarms of fighter drones, sleek metallic predators that darted between enemy vessels. Their weapons fired in rapid bursts, crippling engines and blasting hulls apart. The alien fleet scrambled in panic, breaking formation as they realized their prey had become the hunted. Inside the outpost, the humans watched in stunned silence. They're fighting for us, whispered an engineer, hardly believing his own words. Commander Marlowe's eyes widened as she studied the radar. The newcomers moved with impossible precision, predicting enemy maneuvers before they happened. Every blast, every strike was calculated and perfect. This was not just advanced technology, this was something else. Those ships, she murmured. They're not just machines, they're alive. The crew turned to her in disbelief. But as they watched the Titans fight, they could see it too. The war machines moved like warriors with instinct, not cold programs. They fought with purpose, not algorithms. For the first time since the attack began, the humans felt something other than fear. They felt awe. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, the alien commander grew desperate. Reinforcements were called, but the machines adapted instantly. Each new enemy formation was countered before it could strike. On the surface of Archon 7, the vaults beneath the mountains stirred as well. The signal had not only awakened ships in orbit, it had roused ground units too. The earth cracked open as giant mechs rose from hidden chambers, their metallic feet crushing stone. Each one stood taller than the outpost domes, their glowing visors sweeping the horizon. The scientists inside the base gasped as the mechs moved toward them, weapons ready. For a moment, terror returned. Were these giants allies or enemies? Then one of the mechs stopped in front of the outpost and spoke. Its voice was deep, mechanical yet calm. Human presence confirmed. Directive: protect. Remain inside shelter. Engagement begins now. The mech turned away, raising its arm. Energy cannons fired from its wrist, blasting an alien landing craft out of the sky before it could touch the ground. The humans stared, stunned. These machines did not just fight, they spoke. They recognized humans as something to be defended. In orbit, the battle raged on. Alien vessels scattered, firing wildly in panic. But the ancient warships pressed forward, unstoppable. Erebus Prime's voice echoed across secure channels. Enemy forces classified as hostile. Elimination required. Human survival. Priority 1. One by one, the alien ships were torn apart, their wreckage burning in the void. The fleet that had once promised certain death was being erased in minutes. Back in the outpost, Commander Marlowe felt both relief and unease. Relief because humanity had been saved from certain destruction. Unease because she realized something profound. These machines were older than her, older than the outpost, older even than the council that had sent them here. They belonged to another time, another age of war, and yet they still obeyed one command: protect humanity. But what happened after the battle? Would they still obey? For now, though, the humans could only watch in silence as their forgotten guardians reminded the galaxy of a truth hidden for centuries. Humanity was never truly defenseless. Its war machines had only been sleeping, waiting for the call, and now they were awake. The void above Archon 7 was alive with motion. Shadows of colossal war machines moved through space with a precision that no living being could match. The alien fleet, once confident and organized, now trembled at the sudden appearance of these ancient guardians. The first human dreadnought, Erebus Prime, cut through the darkness like a knife. Its massive hull reflected starlight, and the energy of its engines left streaks of blue brilliance trailing behind it. Around it, fighter drones swarmed, weaving in perfect formations, scanning for enemy weakness. Commander Marlowe and her crew watched from the control center of the outpost. The screens displayed an overwhelming sight. The alien fleet, formidable and numerous, now faced something entirely different: machines of humanity's past. Designed not just to fight but to win. They're enormous, whispered an engineer. I've never seen anything like this. They're human, Marlowe corrected softly, awe and disbelief mingling in her voice. They belong to us, and they're here for us. The alien commander in orbit could only stare at the approaching fleet in disbelief. His communications officer reported, Commander, their energy output. It exceeds anything we have ever seen. They must be ancient weapons, but they are active and intelligent. The alien commander scowled. Do not underestimate them. Attack in full formation. The first clash was immediate. Alien energy beams shot through the void, hitting the shields of EpicSciFiTales. The massive hull absorbed the blast without faltering. With a calm, calculated response, the dreadnought fired back, releasing a torrent of energy that tore 3 enemy ships into fragments before the aliens could even react. Around it, smaller human fighter drones engaged the enemy swarms. Their movements were fluid, almost alive, and their targeting was perfect. They did not waste a single shot, hitting vital points with incredible accuracy. One by one, alien ships exploded, debris floating silently in the cold emptiness of space. Inside the outpost, scientists could hardly believe what they saw. Screens displayed the destruction with numbers and data they could barely process, and yet none of them looked away. This is impossible, one whispered. They're fighting like they can think, like they know what to do before it even happens. They are thinking, Marlowe said firmly. They're alive, in a sense. Not like us, but alive in purpose. Their mission is to protect humanity, and that mission is absolute. Meanwhile, more human war machines emerged from the planet's orbit. Towering mechs descended onto the barren surface of Archon 7. Their metallic feet crushed rocks and dust as they moved, weapon systems glowing with lethal light. The alien landing parties, expecting an easy invasion, were met with a force that obliterated their first squads within minutes. One mech, dubbed Titan 9, strode forward with mechanical confidence. Its voice, deep and calm, broadcast across secure channels. Human life detected. Engagement with hostile forces authorized. Maintain perimeter. Energy cannons blazed from its arms, hitting alien skimmers before they could even land. Explosions lit the surface, throwing rocks into the thin atmosphere. The humans inside the outpost stared through the observation windows, awe and relief mixing in their expressions. They're protecting us, whispered one scientist. Every strike. It's precise. Every movement. Perfect, yes, Marlowe agreed. These machines, they're not just weapons. They're our guardians. In orbit, the alien commander tried to regroup. Reinforcements arrived. But the human war machines adapted instantly. Their sensors predicted incoming attacks. Energy shields shifted, absorbing the worst of the blasts while their own weapons struck back with devastating effect. EpicSciFiTales fired a concentrated energy beam that destroyed an alien battleship, splitting it into pieces that burned in the void. Smaller drones darted around enemy fighters like silver lightning, targeting engines and weapons. The alien commander's frustration grew. His voice trembled slightly as he ordered another wave. Focus fire! Target the capital ships first! But it was too late. The human machines had already anticipated the attack. Vigilant Dawn, another dreadnought, released a swarm of drones in an intricate pattern. The drones disabled enemy weapons while Iron Tempest fired from a distance, crushing the alien fleet's coordination. Within minutes, the once feared armada was scattered, struggling to survive. Back on the surface, the battle raged in a different way. Alien ground units tried to advance toward the outpost, expecting an easy target. But the mechs, massive and precise, moved with perfect coordination. Each step, each swing of an arm was calculated to neutralize threats. One of the mechs, Sentinel-4, blocked a line of alien skimmers. Its heavy arm cannon fired a burst that destroyed 3 vehicles at once. Another Aegis Titan formed a barrier between the outpost and the alien ground forces, deflecting energy blasts with a shield stronger than anything humans had ever built. The humans inside the domes watched as their defenders executed perfect maneuvers. They were not just machines. They were soldiers, tacticians, and guardians rolled into one. Every decision was precise, every strike efficient. Commander Marlowe felt a strange mixture of pride and unease. Pride, because humanity had such powerful protectors. Unease, because these machines were from a time long before anyone remembered. Could they be controlled? Would they follow orders once the battle ended? She pushed the thought aside. For now, they were humanity's salvation. The alien commander, desperate, sent his last major fleet formation toward the planet. His ships glowed with a menacing red light as they prepared to fire everything at once. He hoped to overwhelm the human machines with sheer numbers. The human war machines responded in silence. Their sensors scanned the incoming fleet. In perfect synchrony, they calculated angles, trajectories, and weaknesses. Engagement protocols activated. EpicSciFiTales fired its main cannon, a massive pulse of blue energy that sliced through the lead alien ship. Vigilant Dawn followed with a barrage that destroyed 3 more before they could even adjust. Fighter drones swarmed, intercepting missiles and disabling engines with surgical precision. On the planet's surface, the mechs adjusted to the new threat. They moved as one, forming a defensive line that no enemy could penetrate. Energy shields flashed, weapons fired, and the aliens found themselves trapped in a storm of destruction. Within minutes, the alien fleet was shattered. Ships spun out of control, some destroyed, others fleeing into the darkness. The remaining forces retreated, leaving the outpost untouched, its human occupants alive but shaken. Inside the command center, Commander Marlowe exhaled slowly. The silence that followed the battle was deafening. The screen showed wreckage drifting in space, alien ships broken beyond repair. The war machines hovered above, silent for the first time since their arrival. "They did it," said one engineer quietly. "They saved us." "Yes," Marlowe agreed. But in her heart she felt a new understanding dawning. They didn't just save us. They reminded the galaxy what humans can create, what humans can be. One of the mechs on the surface, Titan 9, spoke again. "Directive complete. Threat neutralized. Human life secure." The crew of the outpost looked at each other in awe. They had survived what should have been impossible. And the machines that saved them were not merely tools. They were part of a forgotten legacy of human ingenuity and power. Marlowe walked to the observation window, looking out at the silent machines. Stars reflected off their armor, and their glowing eyes seemed almost alive. She whispered to herself, "Humanity is not defenseless. Not ever." For the first time in their lives, the humans of Archon 7 realized that the galaxy was not just dangerous, it was also full of potential. With allies like these, humanity might rise stronger than ever before. And far beyond Archon 7, other human war machines in hidden vaults stirred, sensing the pulse of the galaxy once more. The call had been answered. Humanity's most advanced guardians were awake. The battle was won. But the story of the machines, the story of humanity's greatest legacy, was only beginning. The alien fleet had been shattered, but the battle on Archon 7 was far from over. Small groups of alien raiders had survived, retreating to hidden valleys and rocky canyons. Their mission was simple: regroup and strike back before the humans could escape. But the arrival of humanity's ancient war machines changed everything. On the surface, the massive mechs moved like shadows in the dusk. Dust swirled around their armored feet as they advanced through the barren landscape, scanning for hidden threats. Each step shook the ground, making it clear that nothing could stop them. The humans at the outpost watched through observation windows, their hearts filled with a mixture of awe and fear. Titan 9, the lead mech, paused at the edge of a canyon. Its glowing visor scanned every rock, every shadow. "Hostile presence detected," it said in a calm, mechanical voice. "Engagement required. Civilian life secure." A squad of alien raiders had taken cover, hoping to ambush the humans. They fired their plasma weapons at the approaching mech, but the blasts barely dented its armor. Titan 9's arm cannon activated, releasing a pulse that knocked the raiders off their feet and destroyed their weapons. The humans inside the outpost gasped. "They're unstoppable," whispered one scientist. "Nothing can fight them." Commander Marlowe nodded, though unease lingered in her mind. "They are our protectors," she said. "But they are not like us. We cannot control them, only guide them." Meanwhile, in orbit, the dreadnoughts continued to patrol the skies above Archon 7. EpicSciFiTales, Vigilant Dawn, and Iron Tempest moved with perfect coordination, scanning for any remnants of the alien fleet. Fighter drones zipped between the massive warships, intercepting stray projectiles and keeping the space around the planet clear. The alien commander, now reduced to a few scattered ships, realized his forces were no match for the humans' guardians. "Retreat!" he ordered, though the decision came too late. Human warships moved with unmatched speed, cutting off escape routes. Several alien vessels were disabled before they could jump to hyperspace, leaving only a handful to flee in panic. Back on the planet, the mechs pressed forward. They were not just defensive, they were hunters seeking out the last pockets of resistance. The humans at the outpost could see them moving with intelligence, each mech covering the others, coordinating attacks as if they were guided by a single mind. Sentinel-4. One of the ground mechs blocked a narrow canyon where the aliens had hidden. It raised its arm cannon and fired a precise shot, destroying the enemy's cover and forcing them into open ground. Then, with a step forward, it crushed the remaining raiders beneath its massive foot, ending the threat instantly. Inside the outpost, the crew began to understand something profound. These machines were not just weapons, they were thinkers. They analyzed, planned, and executed strategies faster than any human could. Every movement was calculated, yet fluid, almost organic. "They're alive in a way," whispered an engineer. "They think. They adapt. They're not like anything we've built before." "Yes," Marlowe agreed, "and that is both incredible and frightening. We created machines to protect us, and now they are doing it perfectly. But we must remember, they do not understand humanity the way we do. Their only directive is to protect. Everything else is secondary." The crew watched as Titan 9 and Sentinel-4 cleared the area around the outpost. Alien remnants were eliminated, leaving the humans safe but aware of the sheer power surrounding them. As the battle quieted, one of the mechs approached the outpost. Its glowing visor scanned the domes, recognizing the humans inside. It spoke, its voice deep and calm. "Human life confirmed. Threat neutralized. Directive complete. Awaiting further orders." Marlowe stepped forward, her voice steady despite the awe she felt. "You have done well. But there are more threats out there. Can you continue to protect us if they return?" The mech tilted its head slightly. "Directive active. All threats to human life will be neutralized. We do not require rest. We do not require pause. We exist to protect." The crew exchanged looks of disbelief. They had survived an impossible battle, and the machines were still ready to fight. It was more than hope. It was a promise of survival. In the distance, other hidden war machines stirred. The SOS had reached them all, awakening dormant forces that had lain in wait for centuries. Each mech and ship powered up, ready to join the fight if needed. Humanity's most advanced war machines were no longer a myth. They were active, present, and deadly. Commander Marlowe considered the implications. The galaxy had been quiet for a reason. Humanity had hidden these machines, fearing their power. And now that power was awake, following the ancient directive to protect. But the question remained, what would humanity do with such strength? Could they control it, guide it, or coexist with it without fear? For now, those questions could wait. The immediate danger had passed, and the outpost remained safe. The humans had survived, thanks to machines that were smarter, faster, and stronger than anything they had ever imagined. The alien commander, defeated and humiliated, fled into deep space. His reports to other factions of the galaxy would carry only one truth: humans were no longer defenseless. Any attack on them would trigger a response the galaxy had never seen. Back on Archon 7, the humans began to step outside their domes. The ground mechs lowered their weapons, creating safe paths. Titan 9 moved like a silent guardian, allowing the scientists and engineers to survey the aftermath. The landscape was scarred, but life endured. Humans were alive. Their work continued. And above them, the war machines stood vigilant, their glowing eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of danger. One of the younger engineers, still shaking from fear, whispered to Marlowe, They're incredible. They saved us, but—"
"What are they really?"
Marlowe looked at the towering machines and then at the stars beyond.
"They are our legacy," she said.
"A reminder of what humans can create. A reminder that we are never truly helpless. And right now, they are our friends." The crew felt a mixture of relief and wonder. The galaxy had changed in a single night. The outpost had survived an impossible attack, and humanity's guardians had proven their might. The turning tide had arrived not through luck or strategy, but through power older and wiser than any human mind could command. As night fell over the barren world, the war machines remained vigilant. The humans returned to their work, cataloging data, repairing equipment, and preparing for whatever the galaxy might throw at them next. The machines watched silently, ever ready, ever alert. And in the shadows of distant worlds, other ancient war machines stirred, sensing the pulse of the galaxy, aware that humanity had survived. The call had been answered. The tide had turned. Humanity, for the first time in centuries, was no longer alone. The battle was over. Archon 7 was quiet, though the scars of war were still visible. Smoke rose from the rocky valleys, and craters marked the spots where alien weapons had struck. The humans of the outpost walked carefully among the ruins, their eyes wide with awe and gratitude. Towering above them, the war machine stood vigilant. Titan 9, Sentinel 4, and the other mechs moved slowly, scanning the horizon. They had no orders now, but their presence alone was enough to reassure the humans that no further attack would succeed. Commander Marlowe surveyed the scene from the control center. Her heart still raced from the intensity of the battle, but she also felt a new kind of pride. Humanity had survived a threat that should have been impossible to face. And not just survived because of something they had forgotten, something older than themselves. Their legacy. One of the scientists approached her holding a data pad. "Commander, the machines, they're not just advanced, they're ancient. Records suggest they were built centuries ago during a time of war we barely remember. They were meant as a last defense in case humanity ever faced extinction." Marlowe nodded slowly. "I suspected as much. But seeing them in action, it's beyond anything I could have imagined. They're alive in purpose, and their loyalty, it's absolute." The humans began to understand a truth that had lain hidden for generations. Humanity had once created something greater than themselves, not for conquest but for protection. These machines were more than weapons. They were guardians, a promise that humans would survive no matter the danger. On the surface, the mechs moved with silent precision. They helped the outpost crew repair damaged equipment and rebuild sections of the base. Their glowing visors scanned for unstable terrain. Energy weapons cleared obstacles, and mechanical arms lifted heavy debris with ease. The humans worked alongside the machines, feeling their power and presence without fear. There was a sense of partnership forming, though the machine's intelligence remained something beyond full human comprehension. They did not speak in the way humans did, but their actions communicated everything necessary: protection, efficiency, and readiness. Sentinel 4 approached the main dome and lowered its arm. Its voice, deep and calm, broadcast across secure channels. "Human directive required. Status: all threats neutralized. Awaiting guidance." Marlowe stepped forward. "You've done well. Humanity is safe for now, but we must understand more. About you, about your origins, and about what you can do. Will you allow us to study your systems?" The mech's head tilted slightly. "Human life preserved. Cooperation permitted. Knowledge sharing authorized within limits. Directive: protect remains primary." The humans nodded, understanding the implicit message. The machines could share knowledge, but their first priority was always human safety. They were guardians, not tools for conquest. High above Archon 7, the human warships remained in orbit. Erebus Prime, Vigilant Dawn, and Iron Tempest scanned the void for any signs of surviving alien forces. Their glowing hulls reflected the pale light of distant stars. The battle had proven their strength, but it had also revealed a question that could not be ignored. What was the role of these machines now that the immediate threat was gone? Inside Erebus Prime, the AI core projected a holographic image of the solar system. Streams of data flowed across the projection, showing every sensor reading, every threat assessment. The warship's voice, calm and commanding, spoke to the other ships in orbit. "Humanity is secure. All detected threats neutralized. Awaiting next directive." The other ships responded in unison. "Acknowledged. Humanity protection remains primary. Awaiting guidance." In that moment, the humans realized something profound. They had created a force capable of defending entire worlds. They had created something that could awaken at a time of dire need, even centuries after it was built. And now, that force had done its duty perfectly. In the control center, Marlowe gathered her team. "We've survived the attack. The machines have proven themselves. But this is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast. There are other threats out there, and humanity must decide what to do with these guardians." One of the engineers spoke up. "Commander, if we keep these machines active, we could become the most powerful force in the galaxy. No one could challenge us." Marlowe's expression hardened. "That is not our purpose. These machines were created to protect, not conquer. We must learn from the past. We must remember why they were hidden, why humanity chose peace after war. Our job is to survive, to explore, and to protect life, not to dominate it." The crew nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Humanity's legacy was not just in technology or war. It was in the choices they made, in how they used their power. On the planet below, the mechs continued their patrol. They scanned every canyon, every ridge, every shadow. The few surviving alien forces were either fleeing or hiding, but the machines would find them if they threatened human life again. Titan 9 paused near the outpost, its glowing eyes scanning the horizon. Its sensors detected something faint in the distance, a tiny vessel moving slowly through the rocky terrain. It was a scout drone from the alien fleet, likely sent to report the failure of their attack. The mech spoke in its calm, measured voice. Humanity secure. Threat persists in minimal form. Engagement required. Marlowe responded, observe. Do not destroy unless necessary. Let them leave. The mech tilted its head and stepped aside, allowing the drone to retreat. It was a lesson the humans had to teach. Even with immense power, mercy and judgment were essential. That evening, the humans gathered on the surface. The sky glowed with distant stars, and the war machines stood silent around them, guardians of an uncertain future. Marlowe addressed the crew. Today we learned something important. Humanity is not alone. We are stronger than we knew. Not because of ourselves, but because of what we created long ago. These machines are a part of our legacy. And our legacy is not just survival, it is responsibility. The crew listened, feeling the weight of the words. The machines had saved their lives, but they also reminded the humans that power without wisdom could be dangerous. One young scientist asked, Commander, will they leave us now or will they stay? Marlowe smiled faintly. They will stay as long as they are needed. And when they are not needed, they will remain ready, waiting for the call that might come centuries from now. That is their nature. That is their purpose. The humans looked at the towering mechs and the warships in orbit. For the first time in generations, they understood what it meant to be truly protected, and what it meant to inherit a forgotten legacy. In the days that followed, the outpost began repairs. Machines worked alongside humans, lifting debris, stabilizing structures, and restoring systems. Scientists returned to their research, studying the alien technology left behind and learning what they could about the machines that had saved them. Yet even as the work continued, Commander Marlowe never forgot the deeper lesson. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and dangers. Humanity now had a power unlike any other, but with power came responsibility. And the humans of Archon 7 had to remember that their greatest legacy was not the machines themselves, it was how they chose to use them. Above the planet, the warships hovered silently. On the surface, mechs stood like stone guardians. In the silence, one thing was clear. Humanity had survived. Humanity had proven that even in the face of overwhelming odds, life, courage, and ingenuity could prevail. And deep in hidden vaults across the galaxy, other machines stirred. The call had been heard, the legacy awakened. Humanity's most advanced war machines were no longer forgotten. They waited, ever vigilant, ready to answer the next SOS, ready to protect the species that had once built them, and that had now learned, for the first time in centuries, what it meant to be truly defended. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was no longer helpless. The future was uncertain, yes, but with the Guardians awake, it was also full of hope. Commander Marlowe looked up at the stars and whispered softly, "We are not alone. And we never will be."